A very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the continued discussion of swings. In the previous class, what we have discussed was how to create a graphical user interface by using a sample swing application. By using a sample swing application, and we have seen how to develop an application, and we have also seen the demonstration of that particular program. That is, a simple swing application was developed in the previous class, and that was able to handle the events. That is, the simple events that was the actual events were not handled in that example. We were using passive entity called label. A sample label was used, and the label was displayed onto the screen. That is, what was the label? The swing means powerful GUIs or graphical user interfaces. So this was the example program what we have seen in the previous class. So in the today's class, what we will be discussing is about how to handle different events with the help of swings. So swings, in the earlier example, that was passive entity. The passive component was used for interaction with the user. Now in this example, we can use the components, we can use active components for interacting with the user, That means whenever user clicks on any of the components, one event gets generated. And for that corresponding event, one listener will be called, and that listener will handle the event. That means the listener will take corresponding action for every event generated by the source. Now, whatever we have seen in in this class, we'll be looking about how to handle the active events. Actively, we are going to respond to some of the events generated by the sources. Whatever we have seen in the previous class was JLabel. So it was not taking any input from the user, and it was not generating events. So that event handling was needed. In that previous example, whatever we have seen, there was no need for handling the events. Why there was no need? Because the events were passive in nature. The events were passive. That means what was the passive event there? The label was created and it was being displayed onto the user. There was no active event. But there will be some other swing components which do respond to the input. And in such cases, we need the process to handle the events. For example, whenever a user clicks on a button, you should take the appropriate action. But the events need not get generated only because of the input from the user. The events can also be generated by the system itself. They are called as implicit events. Say for example, one example could be an event may get generated whenever a timer goes off. That means you are executing some process, and say after 10 seconds, you should stop execution of that process. So this particular 10-second is called as a timer. We are going to set a 10-second timer. After that particular 10 seconds, one event will get generated. And what is that event? The event is to stop that process. So here user is not interacting exclusively with the system or with the graphical user interface. See, whatever event handling mechanism we discuss by using swings, they are almost all similar to abstract window toolkit based event handling, whatever we discussed in the previous class. That means we have discussed about the delegation event model in the previous discussions. The source will generate the event, and that event will be sent to the appropriate listener who has already registered with the source. So that was the main concept about delegation event model. And in some of the cases, swings are going to make use same events as that of the abstract window toolkit. And all those events are present in the packages, that is java.abstractwindowtoolkit.event package, and even we'll use the package called javax.swing.event package. So these two are the main packages which we'll be using in Swing based applications, And this is the type of graphical user interface what we are going to create now in this discussion. So this is one simple program called event-demo.java. So this is the program which will create one graphical small GUI window with the buttons alpha and beta. And whenever user is going to press alpha button and beta button, the corresponding action will be taken. So the same entire program I have taken it here so that I can explain it properly here. Right. So this is one example how to handle the active events by using swings. So these are the appropriate packages which are imported into the program. As I said, Java Swing sub package present in the Java X package should be imported because we are developing application by using Swing. Now we have a class called event demo. We have a class called event demo, and there we are declaring an object called JLabel of type JLabel. JLab or of type JLabel. So this is used to just hold the label. This will be using it for holding the label value which we will be displaying during the execution. Now event demo is name of the class, and here we have some method called event demo. And we know that a method which has the same name as that of the class is called as a constructor. That means whenever you execute this Swing application, constructor is the first method which will get called. That means this is where we are creating, our graphical user interface. Right now, as I said, the different components are included within the container. Whatever you write within the container, those components will be executed during the execution. So that means first we should have the JFrame container. So what we are doing here is we are declaring an object of type reference variable of type JFrame, and for that reference variable we are creating a new JFrame object by passing an event as example, that is string as a parameter. So what this line does here is it will create one frame. So it's going to create one simple frame for user interaction. With all the possibilities to minimize, to maximize, and to close the application. And what is the heading that you are passing? An event example. One frame outline gets created, and this is what is container. If you remember, I had simulated it with some container like this. We have a container and we will include components in that one. We will write components in that, and this is what is a container. And whatever you write in the container, that will get the life, or that will be active whenever you run the container. Now what is the container in our case? In our case, container is a simple graphical user interface with some option, and in this we'll be again adding the labels and all. That is not a cover. In further program we'll be developing some more graphical user interface items or some more components in this particular container. Now there are different flow layouts what we can set, and the layout for this is being set as flow layout. That is, for this frame we are going to set a layout as the flow layout, and the size is being defined for this frame in the next statement. What is the size? We are going to give 220 width and 90 as the height. That means 220 pixels width and 90 pixels as the height we are going to define for this particular frame or for the container. Now, what should happen whenever we close the application? This we have discussed in the previous classes. So different possibilities are there. You can hide or close or do nothing. So such options we have seen in the previous classes. That means what should happen whenever you close this application? What should happen whenever you close this application? So onto the JFrame, we are just invoking the method that is set default close operation. Whenever you close, what should happen? Simply we are exiting by passing constant exit on close as a parameter. So what we are going to say here is whenever user clicks on the close button for this frame, it should get closed. It should get closed immediately. That is what is expected here. Next thing, we are creating two swing buttons, or we are simply creating two buttons for interacting, and those buttons will be added later to the frame. So what are the two buttons? We are first declaring an object in this line. 1 second. Right. So here, as we know, J button is a class which is responsible for creating different buttons. So here we are creating an object, a J button alpha of type J button. So what it does here is it is going to create one button. It's going to create one button. So this is just a reference variable. What is that reference variable? JBTN alpha. JBTN ALPHA alpha. One button will get created. Now for this reference variable, we are allocating the created new button. That means we are calling the J button constructor by passing alpha as a parameter. And that newly created button is being assigned to the J button alpha reference variable. That is nothing but what is the string value that we are passing here? ALPHA. That is one alpha button is created. One alpha button is created. And next for that button, we are adding the action listener in the next statement. What is the action listener? That is whenever J button alpha is pressed, whenever this button is pressed, onto the J button alpha, we are invoking the corresponding action listener for that. So whenever the corresponding action listener is invoked onto the J button alpha button, it has one method. What is that method? Whatever action is performed, that will get invoked. That is single method whenever you press this button, newly created button. What is that single method? Action performed method. Action performed method will be invoked whenever you press the button. So what should happen on the execution? The body of the method, what it contains? The body of the method, what it contains is simply we are creating one label. What is that? On the JLabel object, we are setting the text value. This is the JLabel object what we have created in the beginning. JLAB. As you can see here, this is where we have created in the beginning, JLAB. So that passive component is being used to initialize. So what we are initializing for our JLabel, for that JLabel, we are just giving a label called alpha was pressed. So what JLabel is containing now? JLabel is containing a text saying that alpha was pressed. Text saying that alpha was pressed. And text is created. So this overall what we have done, we have created one button and we have given the label for that as alpha and then one text. That means the corresponding action listener for that. What should happen whenever you click on that particular button? Same way, we are creating another button called beta. Another button called beta. Yes, this is where we are creating another button called beta. Here we have created another button called beta. So what it does here is it will simply create a button with the label called beta on that. The label called beta on that. Now for this corresponding button beta, we are adding the action listener. So we are implementing the interface and we are adding the action listener for beta. So what is the action listener for beta here is, again it is the same label which is being updated based on the button you are pressing, and we will give a text called, that is the label corresponding label for this beta button is beta was pressed. Beta was pressed. Beta was pressed. And as well, the label for this is JBTN beta. Label for this is J button beta. So what we have done in our developing of a graphical user interface, two buttons we have created just now. What are the two buttons? Alpha button and beta button. Whenever you press alpha, what happens? A message called alpha was pressed will display. Whenever you press beta button, a message called beta was pressed will get displayed onto the graphical user interface. Now, whenever we have created two buttons, that means these buttons are nothing but components. This is component number 1 and this is component number 2. This is component number 2. So these two components should be added to the container. Should be added to the container. So what is the container in our case? This is what is the container in our case. This is what is the container in our case. Now for that, what is the label we have given for that? JFrame is the label. See here, JFRM is the name what we have given for that. JFRM. This is JFrame. To this JFrame container, we have to add those two components. Nothing but we have to add those two buttons. So how we can add? Onto the JFrame container, invoke the add method by passing the button which you want to add as the parameter. So first statement what we are passing, alpha button we are passing as a parameter. Second statement we are passing beta button as the parameter. As you can see the names here, this is the J button beta. So this button is being added to the container. Similarly, in the first statement, we are adding this button to the container. So what it makes here is, in this statement we are adding alpha button to the container. Next we are adding beta button to the container. So after these two statements, how the container looks like is how the So with these two statements, we are adding the two components, that is alpha button and beta button to the container. Now after these two statements, how the container looks like here is, it will create a button, one button for alpha, another button for beta. The corresponding names what we have given are alpha and beta. So this is what is labeled as alpha and this is what is labeled as beta. So these two are the components. Now alpha is one component which is added to the container. Beta is another component which is added to the container. So two components are added to the container now. Similarly, we are creating one more passive component called label. For this J label, we are creating one more passive component, and we are just creating one label. What is that label? We are asking user to enter a button. Press a button. We are asking user to press a button. So that is one label is getting created with the value called press a button, the string called press a button, and that label is being added to the content pane of the container. So we add that label. Now what means one label will get added. What is that label? Label component. Somewhere here, press a button will be added. Press a button. One statement will be added, so that we are giving some information, some message to the user to press the button, and we know that what happens whenever we press the button, corresponding button, some label is getting displayed, that is alpha was pressed and beta was pressed. And finally we are making the visibility of the content frame as true. So by default it will be false, and if you want to execute the frame, you have to set the visibility of the frame to true. That means whatever frame we have created now, this entire frame, if you set the visibility as true, this will get executed. That means this will be ready to handle the events. That means all the components present within this container will become ready or will become active to handle the events generated by the user. Right? And this is as well the main function which will make the events to be handled on the event dispatching thread. That is from the Swing utility class, we are going to invoke the method called invoke later, and from the runnable instance we are implementing, and the run method involves only one method to be called, that is constructor of the event demo class to be called. So event demo class, we are just calling the constructor of the event demo class. And what happens in the constructor? In the constructor itself, everything is taking place, whatever we have discussed till now. Now let us see the demonstration for this. That is event demo class, whatever we have discussed. That is event demo.java. The source file what is given for this is event demo.java. Right? So this is the program what we have studied just now, what we have discussed just now. Let us execute and see it in real time situation. So Java C, compile the program first, then event demo.java. Next, Java event demo. Right? As you can see, one small GUI is created. Small graphical user interface is created. Right? I'll just try to, you can just resize it. You can just maximize this. I've just maximized it. What was the string that we gave to the applet? Status window bar and an event example, right? And then we have created two buttons, alpha and beta, and we are giving a message to the user saying that press a button. If you shrink it like this, that text will come below that. So depending dynamically, it will adjust itself. So as you can see here, if you shrink it, then buttons will come down, right? So dynamically it is going to adjust itself based on the display area. The container is an active entity. Now what we are giving message to the user saying that press any of the button. So if you press alpha, assume you have pressed alpha, and you can see the text message that got changed here. That is corresponding action. You have generated one event by using the component called alpha. We are pressing onto the component alpha, and the corresponding action listener gets executed. And what is happening in the corresponding action listener? In the corresponding action listener, we are simply displaying a message saying that alpha was pressed. And whenever you press the beta button, the corresponding action listener for the beta component will get executed, and the action listener is simply displaying a message saying that beta was pressed. And this you can toggle between alpha and beta continuously. That means whenever you press on the alpha button, it will get a message saying that alpha was pressed. And whenever you press on beta button, it will change to beta was pressed. So alpha was pressed and beta was pressed. And finally, you can minimize this, you can maximize this, you can minimize, maximize, increase the screen size, again bring back to original size. And whenever you click on the close, what should happen? The execution of the application should stop. So I have clicked on the close button. So by default, the execution is terminated. So this was an example for handling the event. Now the same type of event can be handled by using the swings also. That is by using applets. By using applets also we can create the same type of graphical user interface. But the swing based applets are similar to AWT, whatever I have discussed just now. But there is a difference. What is that? The swing applet extends JApplet rather than the applet. That means whatever the swing applets we are going to discuss, they are going to inherit the properties from the very super class called as JApplet. But for the normal applet, what was the super class? For the normal applet, super class was applet. But for the swing applet, the super class is starting with JApplet. That is the only difference. That means JApplet is the top level swing container for all the applets what we are going to create. For all the applets what we are going to create. That is the only difference. And remaining all are same. That is every applet has initialization method and every applet has start method, stop method and destroy method. And the paint method will be called whenever you want to execute. But in this case, we can use only those methods which are required. But in painting means the displaying output is handled differently in case of swings. And as usual, what we know here is all the interaction will take place by using event dispatching thread. The only difference between the event AWT application and swing application is here is this is the super class. They are going to inherit the JApplet super class. As you can see, output of this program is also same. Only thing is this is an applet. This is an applet, and we are going to deal with the applet in this example. We are going to deal with the applet in this example. The same example, I will take it here for explanation purpose. Yes, this is the example what we are trying to discuss. So the import the necessary packages, as well we have imported the necessary packages, and as we are writing the applet, we should write the code for executing the applet. We should include the HTML tag. Corresponding HTML code must be written. And what the code says, the mySwingApplet class should be executed whenever you execute this particular applet. Whenever you execute this particular applet. And the display area for applet is width of 220 and height of 90. This is where we are creating a class called mySwingApplet, which is inheriting the properties from JApplet. For the AWT based applet, what was being extended, here in this place it was applet. But as we are developing swing based applets, they must extend the JApplet. That is the difference, not the applet, they must extend the JApplet. As well, we are declaring two objects, two buttons, JButton alpha and JButton beta. Both are of type JButton class because they are meant for, one object is meant for handling alpha button, another object is meant for handling beta button. This is as well label to hold the text value. Some passive label if you want to process this object is needed. Now initialization is the method of every applet where the applet execution will be initialized. That means before you execute the applet, the necessary initialization part will take place within the initialization method of the applet. So applet has initialization method, destroy method, paint method, stop method and start method. But the initialization part required by the user can be written within this particular method. As usual, we are invoking the applet on the event dispatching thread by swing utilities class, and here we are earlier invoke and later method was being used. Now here we are using invoke and wait method. So this is a key difference. Why invoke and wait method here is the method is waiting until the whole graphical user interface is created, and then finally it is going to return. Finally, it's going to return. Why? Because in the run method here we are calling the make GUI function, that is create the definition of make GUI function will be called. That is the function definition of make GUI will be called. Function definition of make GUI will be called. Until the completion of this graphical user interface, the method will not return to the caller. And this whole code is embedded within the try block, because of some reason, if we are not able to create the graphical user interface, the exception will get created, and that corresponding exception will be handled within this catch block. Will be handled within this catch block, and what we display the message, we are not able to create the graphical user interface because of this exception. During whatever exception will get created during the runtime, that exception details will be displayed. That exception details will be displayed onto the screen. Now this is where we are going to create the graphical user interface. That is the definition of the make GUI function. The definition of the make GUI function. We are calling the make GUI function, and layout is being set to flow layout as well. Layout is being set to flow layout. Two buttons are created. The other discussion is same as that of the previous one. J button alpha, for this reference variable, we are creating new object by calling constructor of the J button and by passing alpha as a parameter. So what it does, it is going to create a button called J button alpha. What is the parameter for that? Alpha means the label for that button is alpha. And action listener is same as previous. What should happen whenever you click on the alpha button? When the corresponding action listener says that alpha was pressed. And similarly, we will create one more button here, beta, in this statement. What we are trying to do here is we are trying to create one more button called beta. The same action listener will be there for beta also. Beta button is getting created. What is the label given for that? The the reference variable name is J button beta and label is beta. And the action listener for beta is this one. So that means whenever you press the button beta, what should happen? It is simply going to display the message called beta was pressed. For alpha, the message called alpha was pressed will be displayed. For beta, beta was pressed will be displayed. Now once two buttons are ready, those buttons must be added to the content pane. Those buttons must be added to the content pane of the container. This is what is our applet container. And to this container we are adding the buttons. So what is the first button? First button is being added as alpha and second one is beta. The two buttons are being added with these two statements to the content pane of the container. And similarly, we are adding one more label here. What is that label? The label simply says that press a button. A label is being added. A label is being created and that is being added to the content pane in the next statement by calling add method by passing this label as a parameter. That is this label, whatever we have created here, that will be passed as a parameter here. Now our graphical user interface is ready, and once we execute, the same sort of response will be expecting. Let us execute this applet now. Remember, it is not an application now. Now it is applet this time. That means my swing applet. One second. The name of the source file here is my swing applet. myswingapplet.java. This is what we have discussed just now. The simple HTML code And the initialization method involves creation of the graphical user interface. And within the definition of the graphical user interface, we are creating the entire GUI. And what the GUI involves? GUI involves just creation of two buttons called alpha and beta, and the corresponding action listeners for alpha and beta. The action listener for alpha is whenever you press the alpha button, it will display a message saying that alpha was pressed. The action listener for beta is whenever you press a beta button, it will display a message saying that beta was pressed. Java swing applet.java. As usual, you will have to compile the applet. Then you make use of applet viewer to execute the applets. Applet viewer my swing applet.java. Right? So applet is being executed. Right? As you can see, we have created one simple applet. Right? The same functionalities, but it says it is an applet, and we are using applet viewer for execution. Which code is being executed? My swing applet code is being executed, and here it will give a message saying that applet has started. It is displayed in the status bar by default. Right? Now the corresponding buttons you can press whenever the two buttons. These are the two components. These are the two active components. Whenever I take the mouse, you can see that their status is changing. Their appearance is changing. Whenever you press alpha, a message will be displayed saying that alpha was pressed. If you press beta, a message will be displayed saying that beta was pressed. Alpha is pressed and beta is pressed. So this is how we can go on developing the graphical user interfaces. Another example for creating graphical user interface. It's like you can select some of the items, say you will give some numbers as input, and then you can create buttons, something like that, addition and subtraction. After addition, you can give here message saying that the added numbers are displayed here. That is, sum of the numbers is this. Multiplication of numbers is this one. You can display it here in the program. So where you can write that? You can write that in the action listener. Here in the action listener, what we are writing here is, in this example, in action listener, we are writing only this code. What we are writing? Only alpha was pressed. But in this place, if it is for multiplication or addition of numbers, you can write any other required code here. That is, C is equal to A plus B. That is just extension of graphical interface I am telling. Then you can display the value of C. Any possible code you can write within the action listener. But here for our explanation purpose, what we have done is we are simply displaying the label whenever some component is utilized, whenever some component is pressed. Here in our case, components are buttons, that is alpha and beta buttons. Whenever I press alpha, I'll get a message saying that alpha was pressed, and whenever I press beta, beta was pressed. And syntax for this is predefined. This is what is the predefined syntax, and we go on creating the graphical user interface. You can link any other code beyond the buttons whenever you press the buttons. What we have seen was the simple swing application and applet in this class.